The Senate Committee on Government Affairs will come to order. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Vice Chair Orenshaw. Senator Goycochea. Senator Daly. Senator Krasner. Chair Flores.
Here, please let the record reflect that Senator Krasner is absent, but we do have a quorum. I want to remind everybody that we are constantly working off our laptops as we have presentations. Please don't take that as a sign of disrespect, particularly when presentations are ongoing. I want to remind everybody to please silence your cell phones. We have 3 items on the agenda today, and we're going to take them in the order they appear. For those of you who will be presenting the bills, I would like to remind you to please ensure that you have given your card and information to our staff, that you've provided some physical copies of the actual exhibits, should you have any, and placed them by the door so that members can follow along and grab one should they please. And I want to remind anybody wishing to testify in support, neutral, or opposition to any particular bill that you are welcome to submit that in writing to our committee secretary, and they will be sure to upload that, and that it is available for those who wish to view it. And with that, I'd like to open up the hearing. Oh, excuse me, before I do that, members, in front of me I have 2 committee BDRs, BDR 22346, which revises provisions governing master plans, and I have BDR 36335, which revises provisions relating to emergency preparedness. I want to remind folk that this is just an introduction so that we can get them down to the floor and eventually refer to the correct committee. You moving today to move them out of committee will serve that purpose only. It does not mean that you support the bill in any way. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to, Vice Chair, please.
Move introduction, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Vice Chair Orenshaw has made the motion to move BDR 36335 and BDR 22346. Do I have a second? Senator Goycochea has seconded that. Members, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And I will let our staff know that they are now signed and ready to be picked up whenever you'd like to do that. Next, I'd like to open up the hearing on Senate Bill 8, which revises provisions relating to juvenile justice. Good afternoon, welcome. Whenever you are ready, please remember to state your first and last name for the record. Welcome.
Good afternoon. For the record, Dr. Cindy Pitlock. I serve as the administrator of the Division of Child and Family Services. Through you, Chair Flores. Good afternoon. I am here to present Senate Bill 8, which revises provisions related to juvenile justice. Senate Bill 8 updates NRS 289.470, which is the statute that defines Category 2 peace officers. Category 2 peace officers include such state positions as court bailiffs, agents of the Nevada Gaming Control Board, legislative police officers, parole counselors at the Division of Child and Family Services, and a variety of investigators employed by the Nevada Transportation Authority, arson and fire departments, the state forester, fire warden, the DMV, and others. In all, there are 18 definitions of Category 2 peace officers, and this bill proposes a 19th type, a criminal investigator employed by the Division of Child and Family Services. The proposed language may be found in Senate Bill 8, Section 1, Number 12. We are requesting a criminal investigator position to serve as an investigator for allegations related to the Prison Rape Elimination Act, which I will call PREA going forward. PREA refers to national standards to provide comprehensive guidelines for preventing, detecting, and responding to sexual abuse and sexual harassment involving both youth and adults in federal, state, and local institutions, including state and community correctional facilities. All youth residing in a DCFS facility are protected under PREA, and each facility has a process in place for youth to report PREA allegations. This position already is in our budget, and the bill allows the division to hire the Category 2 peace officer into the position, bringing the requisite skills and authority to these very important investigations. Thank you for hearing this bill today, and I'm certainly ready to answer any questions you may have.
And thank you for that succinct presentation. Members, any questions? Vice Chair, please.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you to the Director. My question is then, if this passes and this new investigator who would be part of DCFS, would they investigate potential allegations of PREA violations at all the facilities under DCFS, including the correctional facilities and the mental health treatment facilities, or how many facilities would they have to be in charge of?
Through you, Chair Flores, to the Senator Cindy Pitlock for the record.
And please go direct. Thank you.
Thank you. So the PREA investigations primarily are focused within our 3 facilities, Summit View, Caliente, and Nevada Youth Training Center.
Thank you. Brief follow-up, Mr. Chair.
Please follow up.
And then this one investigator would be in charge of investigating potential PREA allegations of PREA violations at all 3 of the youth correctional centers?
For the record, Dr. Pitlock, to you, Senator, yes, that is correct.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Members, any additional questions? Seeing none, thank you for the presentation. If I could have you sit back. And at this time, I'd like to, Madam Secretary, please let the record reflect that Senator Krasner is present. At this time, I'd like to invite those wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 8, either in Las Vegas or Carson City, to please come forward. Seeing none, if we could please go to the phones. Do we have anybody, BPS, in support of Senate Bill 8?
Chair, your line is open and working, and you have no callers at this time.
Thank you. And with that, we'll invite anybody wishing to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 8, either in Carson City or Las Vegas, to please come forward. Seeing none, we'll go to the phones again. Opposition to Senate Bill 8.
Chair, you have no callers at this time.
Thank you. And last, we'll go to those wishing to testify in the neutral position for Senate Bill 8, Carson City or Las Vegas. Seeing none, do we have anybody on the phones?
Chair, you have no callers at this time.
Thank you. And with that, if we have any closing remarks you wish to make? Nope. Perfect. Thank you for your presentation again. And with that, we'll go ahead and close out the hearing on Senate Bill 8. And by the way, congratulations. No questions. I think it was great. You got 1 or 2. That's just a great way to start off. We'll see if that tone remains. Next, I'd like to open up the hearing on Senate Bill 17. Please. Good afternoon and welcome. Whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, Chairman Flores, Vice Chair Orenshaw, members of the committee. For the record, my name is David Clyde, Associate General Counsel for the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada. Thank you for taking the time to hear Senate Bill 17, which amends the RTC's enabling statute, which is NRS 277A. This bill has 4 primary functions. The first section is regarding security. The language in Section 1 of this bill clarifies the RTC's authority to employ or appoint security officers. Security on our transit system has been a pressing issue for our passengers and our contracted drivers over the last year. We added this language in Section 1 to not only clarify the authority to hire security officers, but also to serve as a placeholder for other options we might look at. Since we submitted this bill language back in November for a pre-filed bill, we have surveyed 23 other transit agencies and looked at other options available regarding security. In our research, we have found several local options that we would like to explore prior to looking for a legislative option. And so with that, we have submitted an amendment to our bill that would essentially remove all the language that is being proposed in Section 1 of this bill. Section 2 of this bill is regarding our Bus Shelter Bench and Advisory Committee. This section in the bill removes requirements from statute for the Bus Shelter and Bench Advisory Committee, including the establishment of the committee, the membership of the committee, and the number of meetings that are to be held, which are currently stipulated in statute. The purpose of this language is to provide the RTC more flexibility. The Bus Shelter Bench Advisory Committee provides information and advice to the RTC regarding the construction, maintenance, and operation of our bus shelters. We'd like this language to be more flexible in the situation if we want to have more flexibility. Right now, the statute is very directive in how many people are on the committee and how often it needs to meet, including 6 times a year, and other items. So we're looking for some flexibility in that. Section 3 of this bill is to update the Yellow Dot program to make the program permissive rather than mandatory. The Yellow Dot program, which was started in 2015, includes a yellow decal on vehicles that notify first responders of medical information in the vehicle's glove compartment. As new applications of technology have become available, we have seen a sharp decline in the overall interest in the Yellow Dot program. And so I'd like to note that if people still would like to request Yellow Dot envelopes, we will be happy to provide them. But in the long term, we're looking for flexibility as we continue to see interest decline to make that a permissive, make that an optional requirement rather than mandatory. The final section in Section 4 is to clarify the RTC's authority to develop transportation projects that promote innovative and emerging technologies. As the RTC begins to implement new technologies and projects such as our autonomous shuttle program in the titled GoMed in the Las Vegas Medical District, and also look at hydrogen and battery electric bus solutions, we propose adding emerging in this section to clarify the RTC's authority to develop transportation projects that also incorporate new technologies. It also has the added benefit of being in line with language used in the recently passed federal infrastructure bill. With that concludes the changes that are described in this bill, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have on this.
And thank you for that presentation. Members, any questions? We'll start off with Senator Daley, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for coming by and talking to me earlier. So your revisions to Section 1 answers one of my questions, so it's not there anymore, so question's gone too. So I just wanted to be clear and maybe reiterate some of what I've been told. So the existing committee on the park bench thing is kind of a legacy committee that's put in that's outlasted its usefulness, if you will. And then you want to make it more flexible. As I understand it, you already have a fairly large advisory committee that can look at any number of issues, including park bench or bench shelters. So they can have a subcommittee and do this very same thing. It's just not as prescriptive on how many times you have to meet and those types of things. Is that correct? So you don't, it's really not eliminating anything other than the prescriptive parts that you have to meet 6 times a year and who's there for something that's relatively small portion of what you do.
Yeah, for the record, David Clyde for the RTC, Chairman Flores, through you to Senator Daley. Regarding your question, yes, the RTC has several citizen advisory committees that look at a number of different topics, and we do, there would be a lot of flexibility there if the bus shelter issue would be taken up by one of the other committees. And so, yes, there is a structure in place for that.
Follow, please.
And not necessarily a follow-up. So on the emerging, innovative and emerging technologies, are we talking about mainly for transit stuff? Because you guys also do construction projects and upgrades and roads and stuff. So does that include those evolving technologies on both sides? I know there's been talk of someday putting, solar panels in the road and for a variety of things to, power stuff. Are those the types of things you're looking at, or you're mainly looking on the transit side?
For the record, David Clyde, Chairman Flores, through you to Senator Daly.
And sorry to interrupt. Feel free to go direct.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay. Senator Daly, to your question, this is for transportation projects in general. It is true the examples I used were transit, but these could be all transportation projects related to the RTC's responsibilities.
Okay, no, thank you.
Senator Krasner, please.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your presentation. In Section 2, I see that you're changing shall establish an advisory committee regarding the installation and maintenance of the benches, shelters, and transit stops for passengers. And I know that that's kind of a public safety thing for people who may not be able to afford a car, and so they're reliant upon buses and public transportation. And so you're changing that to may, and you're also changing the advisory committee shall meet 6 times annually. How many times are you going to suggest that the advisory committee meets? Because, that's really a matter of public safety. They do need to meet sometime. So how many times are you suggesting, please?
Thank you. For the record, David Clyde. Senator Krasner, to your question, for us, we absolutely believe that these bus shelter conversations are important. That is an important service for people who are riding transit. As you pointed out, it is a public safety issue. Here, we have no prescriptive time that we are requiring to meet, but we do anticipate that this is looking more for the flexibility of maybe combining it with some of our other committees. But all of our committees right now meet on, I think the least often that our committees currently meet, some meet quarterly. And so they meet pretty often.
Please follow it.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate that, but the way that it's written, you don't have to meet at all. And so I'm just wondering how citizens might feel about members of the legislature going from a mandatory must meet 6 times a year for their safety to don't really have to meet even 1 time a year or ever, because there's nothing in law that says a minimum of 1 time per year. So I'm wondering if you might accept a friendly amendment to put in meet at least 1 time per year.
For the record, David Clyde, Senator Krasner, we'd be happy to put that in. The main issue for us is just having the flexibility in case we want to incorporate other to incorporate other transportation or transit issues into that committee. And so it's more on the scope, so we'd be happy for that amendment.
Yeah, that would be fine. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Members, any additional questions? Seeing none, thank you for your answers and your presentation. At this time, I'd like to invite those wishing to testify in support, either in Las Vegas or Carson City, of Senate Bill 17. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair Flores and Committee. I'm Shelley Capurro, representing the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County. We support Senate Bill 17, and we also support the proposed amendment.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 17? Seeing none in Las Vegas or Carson City, we will go to the phones. BPS, please.
Chair, your public line is open and working, and you have no callers at this time.
Perfect, thank you. At this time, anyone wishing to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 17? Seeing none in Carson City or Las Vegas, we'll go to the phone line.
Chair, there are no callers at this time.
Thank you. And last, those wishing to testify in the neutral position to Senate Bill 17, if you could please come forward. I see nobody in Las Vegas, but we'll have, I believe we have somebody here in Carson City. Please join us. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Catherine Nielsen, and I am the Executive Director of the Nevada Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities. I'll make my comments short and brief today. Within our society, freedom of movement is a fundamental right. However, it remains a largely unfilled promise for citizens with disabilities. Millions of Americans with developmental disabilities have difficulties obtaining transportation that serves a vital lifeline to employment, education, healthcare, and community life. The Nevada Governor's Council on Developmental Disability believes that all publicly funded and/or regulated transportation service systems must be seamlessly coordinated among all modes of transportation. This includes being based on principles of universal design, supported by stable and adequate funding, and fully accessible to all people with developmental disabilities. As you've heard, the advisory committee was established to gather input and make recommendations on issues related to bus shelters and benches located within Nevada. Without the requirements to ensure an advisory committee on these topics, gathering the input from citizens that utilize these services will not be a requirement. The council suggests that there be an advisory committee to ensure supported, coordinated human services and public transportation planning processes and its structure. We also encourage use of uniform data collection to evaluate customer satisfaction and to support the coordination of transportation efforts. An advisory committee, as identified currently, is responsible for this, and thus eliminated the requirement of an advisory committee would negatively impact the citizens with disabilities in the state of Nevada. Thank you.
And thank you. And we'll go to the phones. Anyone wishing to testify in the neutral position?
Chair, you have no callers at this time.
Perfect. And any closing remarks, please?
Chair Flores, members of the committee, David Clyde for the record. I just wanted to thank you again for taking the time to hear this bill and appreciate your time. Thank you.
And thank you. With that, we'll go ahead and close out the hearing. And next, we will open the hearing on Senate Bill 24. Welcome. I forgot, you mentioned that we had an issue and we would have somebody else joining us. We'll go to Las Vegas. Good afternoon and welcome, whenever you're ready.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the Office of Small Business Advocacy. This is Sarah Johnson, Director for the Office of Small Business Advocacy, for the record. I'd like to recognize some of the other members of the Lieutenant Governor's staff who are also in the office or in the audience today. We've got Melissa Saavedra, who's the Deputy Director. She's in the audience up there with you guys. And Rudy Pimentuan, who is the Lieutenant Governor's Chief of Staff, who is here beside me today. SB 24 makes the Office of Small Business Advocacy a permanent office within the Lieutenant Governor's office. Support for small business is especially important for a state like Nevada. We are home to an enterprising population, and family-run businesses offer an especially valuable work opportunity to immigrants. Small businesses are an invaluable source of economic strength and are oftentimes an important step up the economic ladder for immigrants and other minority populations. I want to include some of the recent statistics on the state of entrepreneurship here in Nevada. In 2022, 313,000 small businesses were in operation in Nevada, representing 99% of all businesses in the state. Small businesses employ over 500,000 people, or 43% of Nevada's workforce. 98% of businesses in Nevada have fewer than 20 employees. And while the number of small businesses in metropolitan counties has grown by 40%, the number in rural counties has only grown by 7%. Additionally, the number of women-owned businesses increased by 21% from 2014 to 2019, and businesses owned by women of color grew an astounding 43%. Latinos own 19% of businesses, but represent 30% of Nevada's population. A little bit of history on the Office of Small Business Advocacy. During Nevada's 81st legislative session, former Speaker of the Assembly Jason Frierson and Assemblywoman Teresa Benitez Thompson introduced AB 184 with the support of former Lieutenant Governor Kate Marshall, which created the Office of Small Business Advocacy. As you can imagine, getting a state agency up and running and hiring people to run it takes some time. So OSBA has truly only been active as a resource for small business owners for around 8 months. We were created to help small business owners navigate hurdles related to licensing and business regulations, and we work one-on-one with small business owners when they face problems with delays with licensing, regulation, and inspection with state and local governments. It's OSBA's job to resolve these issues for small businesses, and there's no other agency or organization helping small business owners with these issues at this individual level. OSBA also supports other business resources throughout the state by helping them build capacity. In doing so, our office helps ensure the long-term growth and resiliency of the small business community here in Nevada. We work in 3 ways. First, we support small business owners. We receive, review, and resolve challenges faced by small business owners. Second, we monitor, we compile and analyze small business challenges and barriers to entry. We monitor federal, state, and local laws, regulations, and policies relating to small business. We look and see what other states are doing and promote and encourage a vibrant and thriving small business community and strategize on how we can replicate those successes in Nevada. The third thing OSBA does is recommend. We provide information and recommendations to local and state leaders, government agencies, and members of the legislature on how to improve issues impeding small business growth here in Nevada. With that, I'd like to hand it over to the Lieutenant Governor's Chief of Staff, Rudy Pamantuan, to provide comment on OSBA looking forward.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm Rudy Pamantuan, Chief of Staff to Lieutenant Governor. Chairman Flores, great seeing you. Members, great seeing you. Thank you for your time and consideration of this bill. Prior to being sworn in 6 weeks ago, the Lieutenant Governor served as a long-serving city councilman in the city of Las Vegas. So he's approaching small business not necessarily from an academic perspective, but from sleeves rolled up, on the ground, working directly with small business folks. He understands the concerns, he understands the bureaucracy, the red tape, and the difficulty and challenges in starting and managing a small business. Especially during the pandemic, representing his ward, he saw many businesses close and many businesses struggle as they continue to fight to keep their doors open. With that being said, as Lieutenant Governor, he's looking to champion small businesses throughout the state of Nevada. And within our office, we call this bill the Say Yes to Nevada Small Business Bill. Now, the Lieutenant Governor, through the Office of Small Business Advocacy, and with the support of the Governor, wishes to focus on 5 pillars within this office moving forward. First, the office is looking to serve as a force multiplier for chambers and other stakeholders in the small business community. Through collaboration and partnerships, our goal is to help build greater capacity for all chambers throughout the state and other stakeholders in support of small businesses. We also want to focus on grant partnerships to provide technical assistance and access to capital. And of course, we would work in partnership and in collaboration with existing chambers and stakeholders that serve the small business community. Second, we look to serve as a platform to share and connect programs and information from all levels of government, which offers assistance to small business stakeholders, small business owners, and entrepreneurs. There's a lot of great programs at the state, federal, and local levels, as well as at the private sector. It's just a matter of connecting the chambers and other nonprofits that engage small businesses for them to find the opportunity to engage. The third pillar we look to focus on is to focus on the need that all levels of government and the private sector need to buy in Nevada, meaning any private sector company or any governmental entity should focus and create incentives and opportunities for small business owners who reside and conduct business in Nevada to do business with them as vendors. Looking at federal and military procurement within our state, looking at large corporations within our state that look to reach out and engage small businesses. Unfortunately, we're finding a higher number of California-based small businesses doing business within larger businesses and government within our state. We need to change that and focus all larger companies looking for small business participation to focus on Nevada. Hence, we want to call this Buy Small Business Nevada. The fourth pillar we're looking at is investment tourism. Southern Nevada is a large metropolitan area that's growing, and we find that families take weekend trips out of our state to Utah, Arizona, and California. We need to turn that around and take Nevada dollars and keep them within Nevada. The Lieutenant Governor also serves as chairman of tourism, and in a joint effort, we have the ability to center these efforts to focus families within Nevada to do their road trips within Nevada and visiting state parks and the rural areas to drive dollars spent by Nevadans within Nevada. Some state agencies focus on bringing out-of-state models to Nevada. Our office will focus on bringing out-of-state investors into Nevada to help small businesses in our state gain greater access to capital so they can grow just as large as the largest companies we recruit to our state. And fifth and finally of our 5 pillars is we're here to serve as an advocate for small businesses throughout our state. And we're going to do this in 2 ways. First, we're going to focus on converting recommendations that we hear from the small business community, the chambers and stakeholders, and convert those recommendations to actual policy changes. Secondly, we look to provide small business constituent services to chambers and entrepreneurs. When small business owners are met with challenges dealing with the various hurdles that are thrown at them, we are the ones that are forward-facing and forward-leaning to help them address those issues, because we find that when a government agency is involved in assisting small business owners deal with the crazy maze of trying to conduct business, we find that there's greater efficiency in response. In all 5 pillars, the one thing we really want to focus on too is really ensure that women, minority, underserved community, disadvantaged, and veteran small business owners have equal access to opportunity, so they, along with all Nevadan small business owners, have the opportunity for success, to drive revenue for themselves, to put food on the table, hire more Nevadans, and get our state back going. So with that, I'll send it back over to Sarah Johnson, our new director.
Hi again, Sarah Johnson for the record. So I've just been in this position for about 5 weeks. So I haven't gotten a chance to get out into the community and meet a lot of the chambers of commerce, the small business resources that are available throughout our state. But we were able to get a list of supporters for SB 24, and I'd like to read some of those off today. Eldon and Elizabeth Ricardo, owners of Gray's LLC. Mindy Elliott, Senior Vice President and Public Policy Director of Flynn Gudici Government Affairs. Gabriella Wyatt, Commissioner for the Nevada Commission on Minority Affairs. Kathleen Taylor, Chair, Nevada Commission on Minority Affairs. Commander Andre Haynes, Founder and CEO of the Armed Forces Chamber of Commerce. Favor Chiklu, President of the African Chamber of Commerce and Tourism. Aviva Gordon, Legislative Committee Chair, Henderson Chamber of Commerce. Emily Osterberg, Director of Government Affairs, Henderson Chamber of Commerce. Anna Wood, Government Affairs Chairwoman, Las Vegas Asian Chamber of Commerce. Trey Abney, Nevada State Director for the National Federation of Independent Business. Rodney Chichester, Access Community Capital. Shadrach Robertson, Executive Director of the White Pine Chamber of Commerce. Sandy Gordon, Vice President, Nevada State Development Corporation. Brian Mills, President, Vegas Wedding Chamber of Commerce. Steve Ferguson, owner of Ferg Eats. Keith Johnson, owner of Adventure Charters, LLC. Meredith Tanzer, small business advocate and entrepreneur. Ira Gostin, owner, G8 Strategies, LLC. And Carrie O'Neill, owner, The Applied Companies. With that, if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them at this time.
And thank you for that presentation. Members, any questions? We'll start off with Senator Daley, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I know you said in your testimony that you guys have really kind of only been up for 8 months on this. So during that time, do you have any numbers on how many businesses have come to you and asked for help that you helped?
Hi, this is Sarah Johnson, for the record. We actually do. So we use a internet tracking system called Intranet Quorum, and that allows us the ability to track the constituents that we've served. So far, we have served 286 constituents in the 8 months that we've been active. And those are only the small business owners who have come through that system. So we've helped numerous others who've come to us personally, either through the former director or through Melissa or I personally.
Follow-up.
Follow-up, please.
And then, so on some of the issues that came forward, were they complaints? Were they looking for just advice on where to go and various things and that kind of stuff? So if it was how long did it take for you to reach resolution on the cases that came in? Any idea on how long that took?
Sarah Johnson, for the record. For the resolution time period, sometimes it's as little as a day. Sometimes it's as easy as calling the Southern Nevada Health District when they aren't calling back a food truck owner, for a very recent example. Sometimes it's a little bit more complicated and can take a couple of weeks. As for the issues that we see most prevalent, it's with a lot of it is in the food industry. A lot of it is it is all in licensing and regulations. Some of it, increasingly so, is with inspections, like fire marshal permits. So we've seen a lot of businesses that come to us who are required before they apply for a business license to have, or before they apply for a fire marshal to come and inspect their location, to obviously have the location. But the fire marshal is actually on sometimes a 12-month delay, which is absolutely unacceptable to have a small business owner paying rent on a business that they can't operate before the fire marshal will come. And that's where we step in.
Hi, Rudy Pamantuan for the record. Another example is in the last 9 years prior to us taking office, there was an aggressive listening tour sitting down with various business owners throughout the state. And one of the common issues is the challenges with understanding how to be compliant as a small business from the state down to the local level. That was a common theme. And so one thing that our office is focused on is we've introduced a bill to streamline that process. It is AB 14. We call that the one-stop shop, where individual small business owners are able to go to the Secretary of State's portal, and when they pay their annual or they register their business, it will allow the opportunity to ensure that they're compliant down to the local level, so that based on where their business address is, it'll obviously funnel to checking and paying whatever necessary fees and registrations are required to be compliant from that standpoint. So that's an example from our advocacy standpoint that, through that listening tour, we took notes, we heard what folks had to say throughout the state, and through advocacy, we were championing a bill. And that bill is through the Lieutenant Governor's office, from the work of the Office of Small Business Advocacy.
Follow up, please.
Thank you. And as I recall, and actually I talked to the person who started this program and that, when it was started, I know it was promised, I think, by then Lieutenant Governor Kate Marshall, that you would ensure that you had a Spanish-speaking or someone that could meet with people and communicate with them in their language to help them. Do you have that? I know it wasn't a guarantee, but we want to make sure that that is something that's maintained at the very least. And then the last question is, do you refer people to other agencies or to other people that do some of the same things, refer people to you? Or, like I say, how much, is there redundancy in some of this stuff? Other people do the same things. And we don't want to have duplication if we can avoid it. So I don't know if you guys refer or if other people refer to you. That's all I have.
This is Sarah Johnson for the record. We do. Melissa Saavedra, who's sitting in front of you in the audience right now, is completely fluent in Spanish and a vital resource for us at OSBA. As far as duplication, we receive referrals from other agencies and from other small business resources in the state, and also refer out. Rudy, would you like to add something?
Yeah, hi, Rudy Pamantuan for the record. Thanks for that question, Senator. Good question. So a lot of what we do is we intake a lot of phone calls. There's a lot that happened prior to us, but even in real time today, so for instance, today I received a phone call from a woman minority owned small business. She was very interested in procurement opportunities here at the airport down here and as well as in Reno. And because it's federal dollars, there is some set-asides for minority women-owned small businesses, but it requires a certification process called the ACDBE, which is the Airport Concessions Disadvantaged Minority Business Enterprise. And so that process, it could be tedious, and to a lot of folks, especially in underserved communities, is very intimidating. We have them come in and we actually handhold them through the process. And so it's not just state, but it's also private sector and federal. We find that through our foreign leading and getting out there, we find that we're kind of, even just the name as advocates, we find that small business owners are comfortable reaching out to us and helping them identify solutions to their challenges. With respect to other state agencies, unlike GoEd and unlike business and industry, we don't have actual programs with respect to, when it comes to GoEd, they handle the tax abatements for the big, multi-billion-dollar industry giants that are coming in, and they handle the recruitment of that, and that's very important and exciting. Business and industry, they are in the regulation space, consumer protection, and if people deal with licensing, what have you. We're not in any of those spaces. We focus on small businesses and small businesses that are Nevada owned. And so we're really advocates, like our office says. And so small business owners throughout Nevada can lean on us. Chambers can lean on us. We'll provide the information. It's not our programs. It's everyone else's program. And we connect folks to make a difference to bring greater success for Nevada small businesses.
Members, any additional questions? Seeing none, thank you for that presentation. And I know the Lieutenant Governor apparently couldn't join us, but I'm sure he'll have an opportunity to meet with the members as the conversation with this bill continues. With that, I'd like to invite those wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 24 to please come forward. We do have quite a few folk. Feel free to fill all the seats. And whoever takes the seat first, will take it in order. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chairman Flores, members of the committee. Paul Mariakin, Senior Vice President of Government Affairs for the Vegas Chamber. The Chamber is in support of SB 24. We were in support of the original legislation that was previously proposed by Lieutenant Governor Cade Marshall. As you heard by the example of the LG's office, this offices provide guidance to our members, large and small, but mostly small business, of course, that have questions about procurement, how to do business with the state, inspections, business licensing, clarification on OSHA regulations, labor laws, and DETR compliance. So it's become a one-stop for our members who don't have the in-house resources or HR departments and so forth. They can get some clarity in state regulations. As we add on to those state regulations, this has become an important resource, and we believe that this pilot program demonstrates there's a need in the state of Nevada, and we hope the committee would support the bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Please, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chairman Flores, committee members, Nick Vanderpool with Flynn Judici Government Affairs, here today on behalf of the Northern Nevada Development Authority, NNDA, which encompasses 5 counties, Carson City, Douglas, Lyon, Mineral, and Story. We believe, as it was stated by Mrs. Johnson, this is a synergy between companies coming here, but a good avenue for small business owners who want to set up in Nevada. And we fully support this bill, Senate Bill 24, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, good to see you. For the record, Trey Abdi with the Abney Talcon Group here today representing the over 2,000 members of NFIB in Nevada. NFIB was a strong supporter of this bill when it came a session ago. We want to thank our friends, former Lieutenant Governor Kate Marshall and current Lieutenant Governor Mr. Anthony, for bringing this forward. Mrs. Johnson gave you a lot of stats about small business, so I won't repeat that here. We know that small businesses are the backbone of Nevada and employ almost half of Nevada's employees. Mr. Murakin and Mrs. Johnson talked about all the hoops and agencies and approvals and certifications that small businesses have to get in this state. Anytime we can have a one-stop shop or a telephone number for these businesses to call to help them through that is fantastic. We do appreciate the Lieutenant Governor's outline for the future. Given that this has only been around 8 months, they have a plan in place. We know there's always room for improvement. But again, NFIB Nevada strongly supports this bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your time.
And thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Flores and members of the committee. For the record, Mindy Elliott with Flynn Judici Government Affairs. Today, representing the Nevada Battle-Born Growth Escalator, Inc. You may wonder what the heck that is. Well, in 2015, this body approved a nonprofit organization that has been stood up by the Governor's Office of Economic Development. Yesterday, the Nevada Battle-Born Growth Escalator, Inc. and the Governor's Office of Economic Development announced a $5.3 million small business lending fund that is part of the State Small Business Credit Initiative, $112.9 million that the state was awarded in 2022. This program, along with the Governor's Office of Small Business Advocacy, will help small businesses not only navigate the needs of the small business from a compliance, but it will also provide a lending opportunity. This is the first program that's been rolled out in the country. It is working with the Loan Consortium Pool. There are multiple states that are involved in the program, and it works directly with our community development financial institutions, commonly known as CDFIs. Those CDFIs will provide outreach into the community to help our small businesses, and we look to the Lieutenant Governor's office and this particular office to help spread the word about how small business can advocate and can actually reach, obtain these small business loans. We also are working with the Small Business Development Center to provide technical assistance as those small businesses need in order to help grow their businesses. This is the program is called the Nevada Battle-Born Growth Microloan Program, and the Governor's Office of Economic Development. We released a press release yesterday. Happy to provide any additional information, but we deem that this office is going to be one leg of the stool as we try to roll these funds and reach our small businesses. Thank you.
And thank you. Please, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chairman Flores and members of the committee. My name is Rafael Arroyo.
I don't believe your microphone is on, is it? Please.
Is it going?
Oh, there, if you could just get a little bit
All right,
closer.
a little closer.
Thank
All
you.
Good afternoon, Chairman Flores and members of the committee. My name is Rafael Arroyo. I'm a small business owner in the Las Vegas area, and I'm in support of this bill. I own several locations. We do emissions testing and DMV registration services in the Las Vegas area. And so we deal with different entities, you know, from Secretary of State to the Department of Motor Vehicles and obviously the local licensing places. And, you know, I've been in business for 15 years, and I could definitely have used something like this, someone to advocate on behalf of small businesses to these entities, because it's, as a small business owner, it's just difficult to operate, number one, but, you know, to try to get to someone to help you with your issue is very difficult, especially if you're dealing with an agency that's under the executive branch. not very easy to get a hold of the governor's office ever. So something like this where we can go directly to and they could advocate on behalf of small businesses, I think would be very important, as also, trying to get advocacy through legislators like yourselves is hard. It's hard. You guys are very busy. So something like this, I think, would be very helpful for small businesses. So I'm in support.
And thank you. Anyone else wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 24? If you could please come forward. We do have somebody in Las Vegas. Welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Flores and committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today in support of the Office of Small Business Advocacy. For the record, my name is Anna Wood, Government Affairs Chairwoman and Las Vegas Asian Chamber of Commerce member of the Board of Directors. It is very important to me as an immigrant, a minority, and the daughter of a small business owner. It is very important to me that incoming business owners do not encounter the difficulties that my parents had in starting and operating a business. The process can be overwhelming and very stressful. Currently, we have more than 34,700 small businesses owned by Asian owners and also entrepreneurs. This office is important in strengthening Nevada's entrepreneurial infrastructure and promoting our economic growth so that everything can stay in Nevada, as it is very important to us. Customer service and follow-up services should always be there for anyone who's starting a business so that we can lead them to a path for a better future. Thank you so much for listening to me and your support.
And thank you for joining us. Is there anybody else in Las Vegas that would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 24? Seeing none, we'll go to the phones. Anybody wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 24?
Chair, your public line is open and working, and you have no callers at this time.
Thank you. At this time, we'll invite those wishing to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 24. Seeing or hearing none from Las Vegas or Carson, do we have anybody on the phone?
Chair, you have no callers at this time.
Thank you. And lastly, we'll invite those wishing to testify in the neutral position for Senate Bill 24, Carson City or Las Vegas. Seeing none, lastly, do we have anybody wishing to testify in the neutral position over the phone?
Chair, you have no callers at this time.
Understood. Thank you. And with that, any closing remarks we may have on Senate Bill 24? I think we lost the signal for Las Vegas.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, this is Sarah Johnson for the record. I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out in support, and thank you, Chairman Flores, for hearing us today. Just thank you, and we'll see you soon.
And thank you for the presentation. And thank you all for joining us. With that, we'll close out the hearing on Senate Bill 24. And last on the agenda is public comment. Anybody wishing to join us for public comment, either in Carson City or Las Vegas? Seeing none, we will go to the phones. Anybody on the phones wishing to join us for public comment?
Chair, your public line is open and working, and you have no callers at this time.
Thank you. And with that, I want to remind everybody, you're going to be very disappointed that unfortunately this Friday we will not be having Senate Government Affairs. All right, let's put a bill. No, I realize that obviously we're still in the early stages of session, and I will try when we can not to have you hostage here on a Friday afternoon or evening. Obviously that will not be something we can always do, but for now, plan accordingly so you can be with your families or whatever you need to do. That's equally as important as being in this building. So we will see everybody on Monday. And thank you all, members, for your questions. And thank you all who came and testified in support. With that, this meeting's adjourned.